What if you could instantly see every single resource in your cloud account? Like the legacy database from an acquisition that everybody forgot about, the S3 bucket that's not supposed to be public, but it is, the compute resources, that whole EKS cluster that somebody started up for a demo and is just burning money because they forgot. Let me show you how to find all of these things. Here, under resources, right, I have 330 resources. But what I'm going to do now is go under accounts and I'm going to create an account. I'm going to create a Pulumi Insights account. So start here. I'm going to call this demo, December 2nd. I'm going to pick my cloud resources from ESC. I need to give it credentials, right? So I'm going to set up AWS OIDC credentials using ESC. And this is going to allow Pulumi Cloud to go out to AWS, to the regions that I specify and give access to, and start bringing in all this resource data so that I have a central area that I can look at it. And the way you can look at it is actually pretty cool. But yeah, I'm going to pick regions, right? I can decide individual places. Let's go. Let's do it all, right? I'm just going to turn these all on. But yeah, you can pick specific regions or, everything at once. And then you can pick policies. So once these resources are in, you can start enforcing things on them. And then we're going to do this on an ongoing basis, right? Because we want to know daily if new things that are added that are policy violations. Once that's all set up, we hit create. And once that's in place, we can dig into each specific region. We can see how it's set up. We can see the scans happening here. And then, more importantly, we can go to resource and we can start seeing, instead of 300 resources, look at the number we now have, right? And I mean, that could be overwhelming, but it's actually very easy to filter and group this data. So we can group it this way by project and see, just based on the count, right? Out of those 1,600, actually 1,380 are the ones I just imported now. I can also go here, right? And filter that way. And then I can start just looking by region and seeing like, okay, these things that I imported, what region are they actually in? And this is a great way to just kind of discover like what's going on in the account, right? Like why is there so much going on in EU Central 1? And I can see out of the things I just imported, quite a few are in EU Central 1. Quite a few of those are compute. And then if I dig in further, we see some lambdas, but a lot of EC2 and then VPC. What else? Launch template. A launch template is Carpenter. So that tells me that we probably have an EKS cluster, perhaps, or Kubernetes of some sort, and Carpenter is being used to size it. And this is super handy, right? Just being able to play around, kind of pattern match on what's actually there and does it make sense. If I didn't expect there to be a Kubernetes cluster in EU Central 1, something worth investigating. And you can also save these. So if you use this, you can add it as a favorite. I've already added a bunch of favorites here. One of my favorites of the favorites is time, right? So here I have things grouped by when they last changed. And I can see that most of the resources I imported actually haven't changed in over a year, which is probably something I want to investigate. Why is that most of these haven't changed? Does that mean they're stale and they've been forgotten about? Yeah, you can also group by compute. So here we're just, here's all my compute resources and I can dig in on that. This is super valuable. Like you just kind of explore, group, look for things that could be problems. If you want to be more targeted, if you have a compliance agenda, policies are worth talking about. That we have different policy packs that you can bring in, follow this crossguard link. And once you do, you can also create your own. Once you do, then policy violations start bubbling up here. So if I was concerned about PCI and I want to make sure we were compliant, I could come in here, I could look at the various policies, probably policy pack. I could have my PCI and then dig in and start working through these violations one by one and remediating them. A super helpful way to look at the data. Oh, and one other thing that's super powerful, just kind of a different way to look at the same data, is you can use Copilot now to talk to these resources, which is great if you have a natural language question that you want to ask. Let's see like what interesting stuff we can ask here, Copilot. So you could say, what expensive compute resources do I have running? And this is pretty cool. right? I now found that I have this 6 EC2 instances in EU Central 1 and an EKS cluster. This is an interesting question. It needs to understand where the regions are located and find the clusters. And here we go. It did, right? So EU Central 1, and it found my EKS cluster. Very cool. So you now have visibility into your cloud, whether it's managed by Pulumi or another tool or by neither, right? It's not managed at all. You can get this insight. You can start digging in. So sign up for Pulumi Cloud to check it out. Thank you.